All right, let's dive in. Today, we're going to crack open the engine of the global economy, sourcing and supply chains. And I'm going to give you a few simple but really powerful tools that are going to completely change how you see every single product on every shelf. Let's do this.
I want you to go back with me just a few years. You're in the grocery store, right? You're on a mission for something basic. Toilet paper, pasta, you name it. You turn down the aisle, and then you see it. Or actually, you don't see it.
Yep, empty shelves. Now, this wasn't just some weird fluke in history. It was a symptom of a massive global supply chain breakdown. But here's the thing. It wasn't just random chaos. It's a problem that actually has a name, and more importantly, it has a solution.
So what we're looking at here is what we call the empty shelf problem, and it's the perfect illustration of a fundamental law of supply chains. A tiny little ripple of change at our end, the consumer end, can become a massive tidal wave of disruption for the people who actually make the stuff.
Now, this chaos has a name, and if you're going to remember one thing from our time today, make it this: the bullwhip effect. It explains exactly why a few extra people buying toilet paper in your town causes a logging company halfway across the world to suddenly order a mountain of new chainsaws. It sounds crazy, but it's real.
Okay, and this slide visualizes the problem perfectly. Look at the graph in the top left. That's us, the consumers. Our buying habits are a little bumpy, sure, but not totally insane. But now look what happens as you move up the chain. The retailers' orders, they start to swing a lot more. The wholesalers, even crazier. And by the time you get all the way up to the manufacturer, their orders are just pure chaos. It's literally like a small flick of the wrist here creates a massive cracking sound at the other end of the whip.
So, here is your first workplace win. Picture this. You're in an internship, and you hear a manager complaining, "Ugh, our forecasts are terrible." That is your cue. That's a huge red flag. You can be the one to step in and say, maybe it's not the forecast. Maybe we're seeing a bullwhip effect because we're not sharing information. Suggesting things like continuous replenishment, small, frequent orders instead of big, panicked ones, that's going to make you sound like an absolute genius.
Okay, so tool number 1 is all about taming that bullwhip. Tool number 2 is about strategy. See, you can't use the same game plan for every single product. The real secret is matching the product to the right supply chain pipeline. Let's break it down into 2 big buckets. On one side, you've got functional products. Think Campbell's soup. Demand is super predictable, kind of boring actually. The only goal here is to make it as cheap as humanly possible. But then you have innovative products. Think the next iPhone. Demand is a total wild guess, its life is short, and the goal isn't cost, it's all about speed and flexibility. It's about getting it into people's hands right now.
So you might be thinking, well, why on earth would any sane company choose the chaos of innovative products? This chart right here, that's why. The profit margins are just astronomical. Functional products, they pay the bills. But innovation, that's where fortunes are made. And that prize justifies all the risk. Okay, so think of this matrix as your strategic map, your secret decoder ring. Look at the top left. A functional product with a stable supply, like our soup. You need an efficient supply chain that's all about cutting costs. Simple enough. Now, look at the bottom right. An innovative product with an evolving supply, like a brand new microchip. For that, you need an agile supply chain, one that's built for pure, unadulterated speed. And trying to run an innovative product through an efficient pipeline, that is a guaranteed disaster. And that brings us to your second workplace win. Before you suggest anything in a new job, use this framework as a diagnostic tool. Just ask yourself, is this company trying to shove a fast fashion, innovative product through a slow, efficient supply chain that was designed for soup? If you spot that mismatch, any recommendation you make is going to be grounded in solid, smart strategy. Our third and final tool, this one is all about seeing the invisible. It's about understanding the hidden costs that can turn what looks like a great deal into a total financial nightmare. It's about calculating the true cost of everything.
Seriously, think about it. Has this ever happened to you? You buy a super cheap printer, you're feeling great about it, and then you realize, oh no, the ink cartridges cost a fortune. That's the trap. You were focused on the purchase price, but the real cost was hidden in how you'd use it over time. Well, the exact same thing happens with billion-dollar business decisions. The tool that lets you avoid this trap is called Total Cost of Ownership, or TCO for short. It's a really simple idea, but it's incredibly powerful.
You have to account for every single cost from cradle to grave, buying it, using it, and getting rid of it, to know what something really costs you.
And this iceberg visual is just perfect, right? We all get obsessed with the price tag, the acquisition cost, but that's just the tiny little tip of the iceberg that you can see. The real costs, the ones that can actually sink a company, are lurking right below the surface. All the ongoing ownership costs, like maintenance, and the post-ownership costs, like disposal and warranty claims.
So here's your final workplace win. Use this as your personal checklist. While everyone else in the room is just focused on the purchase price, you'll be the one asking the smart questions like, hey, what's the 5-year maintenance forecast on this? Or what's our plan for disposal? Asking those questions instantly shifts the conversation from just cheap price to long-term value. Trust me, that's a move that will get you noticed.
Okay, let's bring it all home. What we've just covered isn't just a bunch of textbook theory. These are lenses that give you a kind of X-ray vision, a superpower, to see the hidden mechanics of how business really works.
First up, you can see the invisible bullwhip. You know that the chaos isn't random, and you have the tools, like visibility and smart replenishment, to actually calm it down.
Second, you can diagnose strategy. You can look at any product and know almost instantly whether its supply chain is a finely tuned engine or if it's a ticking time bomb, a recipe for disaster.
And third, you now have TCO vision. You can see right past the tempting price tag to that giant hidden iceberg of cost below, protecting your team from making really bad decisions.
So, here's the bottom line. You no longer just see a product on a shelf. You see the entire invisible system that brought it there. You see the flaws, you see the risks, and you see the massive opportunities for making things better. You have the tools now, so go fix it.